Hey everyone, welcome to the Amplify Digest, where I break down 5 of the top news, stories, and trends in 5 minutes or less. As a reminder, if you're new to the Digest, all the resources I'm about to walk you through can be found on the Amplify Talent blog in the blog recap of this post. So let's dig right in. This first story is from Bloomberg, and it actually gets into some global data and global trends around what employees are looking for right now and kind of how that all ties into the great reshuffle, the great resignation, the great whatever you want to call what's happening right now. But it gets into different global data sets, both on kind of the trends that they're seeing in the work in general, and then also some of the expectations of workers these days, and really how that's evolved specifically over the last 2 years since the pandemic. So some interesting data here, worth your time to take a look. Coinbase, I'm a big fan of LJ Brock, Coinbase's chief people officer. He's been on the Redefining HR podcast before. Coinbase has made headlines over the last 2 years for a variety of, bold policy statements, some which people agree with, some which people don't. But I do appreciate the fact that they're both taking chances to do things differently, but also building in public and sharing all of that. And so they've recently, we're all talking about burnout in the field right now, and Coinbase recently introduced a program that they're going to be taking essentially synchronized breaks, for the most part 4 times a year. So a week off each quarter that basically allows employees to refresh and recharge. And the synchronized piece is really important because I think we all have PTO, we all have vacation days. Most times outside of companies that shut down between Christmas and New Year's, when you're on break, your colleagues are not. And that means the Slack messages keep coming, the emails keep coming, you're still, at times expected to weigh in on things. This approach of having synchronized break will have the whole company shut down. So everybody's off. Everybody's taking, time away. And so, the issues of being pulled back into work when you're on PTO won't be there. So I applaud this effort. It's a bold step in addressing burnout. And I think last year you saw, some companies take a 1-week break in the summer. But this is the first company I've seen that now has 4 1-week synchronized breaks. And so it'll be interesting to see how this develops over time. But I think a really smart play by LJ and the team at Coinbase. GetLab, as always, they're continually cranking out great open source resources, and this new guide that they recently released on working from home is very much in that category as well. So check this out. You can download it. It's free. You all know I'm a huge fan of GetLab's open source approach. Particularly, I think they've been one of the leaders in this new shift towards remote work and really sharing their well-established practices with all of us so we can figure out how to do it better. And this was an interesting share by Twitter recently. They talked about the impact of work from anywhere has had on their diversity hiring. And so they get into some of the specific numbers, both specifically within their Black employee population and their Latinx employee population. They've seen an increase just year over year at about 2.5% representation in each of those categories. And so I think as more companies embrace this work from anywhere approach, it absolutely, and now we have some data coming in around how that's going to have a positive impact on our ability to attract and bring in and hopefully retain and develop underrepresented talent within our organizations. And the last thing I want to flag to you, obviously this is, for those of you in the US, this is Black History Month. Many organizations are going to be developing programs, activities, events honoring Black History Month and trying to bring education awareness into their organizations. And if you are doing so, I strongly recommend that you bookmark this resource by Madison Butler. It is a collection of hundreds of Black speakers across a range of topics, including areas of focus, rates, everything. So A, be sure you have a budget to pay speakers that you bring in, but B, oftentimes organizations may spin their wheels a bit when it comes to identifying Black speakers for events like this, and now you don't really have that an excuse. This is a tremendous resource, and so definitely bookmark this. And if you are looking to bring in speakers for any of your events over Black History Month, here's a great starting point for you. So hat tip to Madison for building that for all of us. And that's a wrap for this week's digest. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you next week.